Okay, welcome, welcome. We have people joining us now. We were just having a really nice conversation, Olga and I, about what you can do as an organization to create a culture in which people feel open to express their mistakes, to express their opinions, to be mindful of the health of their workers. And we were just talking about how her organization had given some time to one of their colleagues, saying, you know what, the colleague was burnt out. And they said, okay, let me give you not 100% time, and gave 3 months where they worked a little bit less time. And then that person was able to come back feeling more refreshed. So, what do you have an influence as a manager to be able to do that for your staff, given your, um, given your role, given the company policies, and how can you look for opportunities to really make sure your staff is feeling not completely overwhelmed, which is hard because there's always just so much work to do. So that's what we were talking about just before we started the recording. So welcome, welcome everyone. Hi, Erin. Hi, Emma. We are going to go ahead and we're going to do a review of the whole training. So that's going to take us some time, and it's going to be a little fun because we do it in a platform called Mural, and we'll give you the link to this mural as well, so you will have it. You can also download it. You can create an account for free, and use this platform if you decide you want to use something like this to collaborate with colleagues. So before I get started, any questions, thoughts, feedback? It is our last day. We are going to cover some, and then we're also going to be able to talk amongst each other around some of the challenges we might be facing. No, we're good to go.
I can just say that I really recommend to watch the videos and the materials that you provide for the lectures. I mean, I had some time yesterday in the evening and checked YouTube videos that you offered as a just additional information. It's
Mhm.
really cool. I mean, I never put anything like this on YouTube, just something entertaining, but these videos, they are quite interesting, especially like 2 minutes, how it is called, 2 minutes conversation with your colleague about something that is not very comfortable to say about. Yeah,
Mhm.
kind of interesting how the speaker presents the structure of the conversation, and
Mm.
basically, yeah, you can put everything in this speech or in this conversation and just go with it.
Wonderful. Thank you for the plug on Curator. Because there are lots of materials. There's so much to cover in a management skills course because it is, as I've been saying all along, it's a lifelong journey. As you get the tools and more resources and more practice and more time, you really get being able to be in tune with your individuals, and then looking at your team as something separate than just a group of individuals. So really being able to dive into some of these concepts, because again, what often happens is that you just get promoted, and then you have this new skill set that you need to acquire, and they don't give you a book for it, right? So you have to kind of just wing it. And so courses like this, I think, are really, really helpful. And welcome, Yuri. We're doing some conversations on your organization. If you look at the recording beforehand or after the course, you'll see that we were talking about what that means to be like having an open culture, to being able to talk about things, to being able to see burnout and be able to address it, all different things that we were talking about. So um, before one last pause on anything before I do a review of the course, and then kind of pause a little bit on the change that we started talking about yesterday. Okay, so here is Mural. Mural is a platform where you can share tools, resources. Can you see this cursor going around the screen? Okay, so I know you can't read anything yet, but what this is this is our entire course on one platform. and I'm going to zoom in to everything that we've done. It's going to be kind of quick because we covered a lot in the course, but you'll see that you're able to use this platform where you can create different boxes here where you can have what we've covered. You can put sticky notes, and these sticky notes are stuff that I took from the chat that you put in. So this entire course is on this mural platform, and I'm going to go right to where we started, which was our goals, right? So thinking about motivation, trusting the team, we talked about trust, encouraging, motivation, team cohesion, delegation. So it looks like we really, and we just talked about being burned out. So it looks like we really were able to get to all the goals for this workshop. And now we'll kind of go through what that means. So I'm going to go all the way to the left hand side. And if you remember our first day, thinking about the activities, skills, and characteristics of a good manager. And if we remember these, of being vulnerable, right? Of having empathy, make sure that you're able to have good oversight as a skill, and your activity even of being accountable. So these are all the different things that we talked about of the activity, skills, characteristics. And then we talked about remote management strategies, and that there's barriers. Technology is not equitable. So access to tools can sometimes be difficult, but trying to find those informal chat spaces, check ins, trying to draw people out, and try to use video and focus on the productivity. So as we talked about the remote management, thinking about these different hats you wear as a coach, a mentor, a leader, a role model, and then sometimes just being the boss, right? And so then thinking about, well, when you don't have to just be the boss, right? You can also think about an influence strategy, right? How you might be able to influence others. So we talked about understanding each other. If in terms of managing up, do you know what your manager's priorities or stressors are? You can take this worksheet and bring it to your manager, or maybe you want to bring it to your direct report. And if once you understand each other, then you can think about the different currencies you have, right? Knowledge, time, skill sets, travel. One of came from another a group said bake cakes, and I thought that was really funny. So I kept it in there. There are different things that you can do, and things that you may not be thinking of as a currency, and you have them. As I said, my time was a currency, and I wasn't even thinking of that when I first started. So now that I know this, you can think about, well, what is my goal? Is there something that I really need to achieve? Do I really need someone to do something on a project for me? How do I need to influence them? And so I need to understand what's important to them and aligning my goal with theirs. Because remember, assuming people are potential allies, right? That means not walking away from this person or turning your camera off whenever you see them. It's how do you make them an ally? And seeing your goals and priorities by understanding and diagnosing the world of the other. So can you exchange currencies? And again, use your power for good, not evil. It's supposed to be a win for you, a win for them, and a win for your project or organization. So thinking about that. All right. So we're going to come back out. We're going to see again, we had a lot more going on in this workshop. So how do you do this? How do you have this influence strategy? Well, you need to be able to talk with others, right? So how do you communicate? Remembering your role. Are you communicating down? Because it can sound like this megaphone. So whatever you're saying, even if it's a passing comment, it means a lot. I had a CEO once say, "Oh, I don't like people's desk space being all messy when I show people around." And what happened? Everybody kept on having, at the end of the day, cleaning their desks, doing this, and a lot of time was lost just in a passing comment. So recognizing, communicating down can feel like this, because communicating up can make people have this gramophone on their ear and listening to every single thing you say. So as a manager, you don't get to think out loud with your team, right? You want to make sure that you are understanding and hearing what other people are saying, and then be mindful of what you are saying. And then when you have this idea of unfiltered listening, trying to really actively listen to what people say, you want to reflect back. This is what I heard you say, right? Let me understand. Why is this important to you? Help me understand a little bit more, right? And generating ideas, because again, it's situation, behavior, impact as your role, your way of feedback. This is your framework for feedback. Here's the situation, here's your behavior. Remember the onion, that's what we can change on the outside, and then the impact of your actions. These are the consequences, so that we have a way to be able to speak to people, especially when we are actively listening. So you're helping people to see this big picture. What's their role? Remember celebrating the wins, right? And what do you do in delegation, right? Don't just give them things that you don't want to do. Maybe you want to look at using delegation as an ability to grow your staff, right? Try not to be vague with your instructions, and try to be clear and communicate the outcomes, because the outcomes are so important, right? Because if you don't have really understanding of of your relationship, there can be no trust in the relationship. So there could be some respect, right? That they think that you know what you're doing, that you are competent, that you can trust that you are going to get things done. Or you could be, I really like my boss, but man, they're incompetent. Right? So understanding, where do you fall? Where does your boss fall? And what do you need to do to gain that trust? Right. And it's little activities, little things, and recognizing the big picture and recognizing what motivates you. So these are what you filled in. Again, we have motivators a lot on this side of achievement, recognition, and really just the work you do. And that's kind of the beauty of working in the NGO, international development space, is that you get to do work that you really like, and and helping people in hospitals, and what your work conditions really do have an effect. Though, if you don't have these good policies, like we were just talking about with the organization, and being able to identify ways you can help your staff, especially when it comes to burnout, then that can cause a person to leave the company. But again, what's important to them? How do they want to grow? My holiday heart tree star, right? What's important to them? How do they want to grow? And how do they want to be recognized? So remembering that you can have these informal chats and just even write it down, talk about it in a performance review. What's important to you? How do you want to grow? And how do you want to get feedback? How do you want to be recognized? Right? Because people want to be seen, and think about, what is the realities? What are the things that you can do? What are your options? What needs to happen? Right. And I know I'm talking a lot because I'm going through right through the whole entire course. But again, we're kind of coming towards the end of remembering here of, where is your team, right? Because you're not just looking at the individual. Now you're looking at the team itself. And it's not just a group of individuals. It is where the team is at. Are they storming, forming, norming, performing? Where are they? Right. And that's up here. Remember, what does this feel like? So if you're not sure where your team is, think about what it feels like and what people are doing. Are they like excited, or are they feeling a lot of competitiveness? And is there a dysfunction on your team? So what are the things that you can do? Be vulnerable, go first, try to get that conflict out there, confront difficult issues. And as we said, have that learning party, right? Because failures are another way to learn, instead of maybe people feeling like they need to cover things up because they don't want to admit failure. So thinking about that, and how much do you need to be directing them, or how much do you need to just be delegating and supporting them, and thinking about it not just as the individual, but on the tasks they're performing, because they might be in a green in one task. Let's think about Jane. She's green as a technical expert, but as a manager she does need some extra help. So thinking about also where you are on this. And then finally, what we talked about yesterday was remembering the difficult people and saying, okay, that there are some strengths. What do I need to do to work with them? Right? Because again, their behaviors, that's the outside. What are some things that we can try to influence and try to help them grow, right? And then when you're looking at change, right, this is what we left off on yesterday, was we have people that are the active acceptors and resistors, and it's oftentimes that our time and energy go to the active people, and then recognizing that this, especially the passive resistors, could be our silent killers, right? That these are the people that we do want to see how, what they're thinking, how we might address some of their issues, because if we don't know, they can be under the radar in terms of resisting that change, right? Because everybody tends to go through these stages of change, right? And it sounds a little bit dramatic. It's like, isn't this the stages of grief? But it is the fact that we do feel differently and people accept change. Some people do it better than others, right? And so, where is your team? How do you know and then engage the active acceptors to help motivate your team? So, I'm going to leave it on that last part because we did have our groups talking about the active acceptors and passive acceptors and active resistors and passive resistors. And if anyone wants to say anything more about that from their group, or that we think we covered it. Okay, so I am going to go ahead and we're going to put this link to the mural in the chat. You're welcome to look at it, go in there. You can go move things around. I would suggest downloading it, either starting your own mural account so you can download this to yourself. Because what can happen is you then start moving things around, and then the integrity of it kind of is a little lost. So you want to download it for yourself, and you can use any of these slides, any of these pictures. The PDF learner slides will be in your final email. There'll also be a link to the evaluation, so if you could fill that out as well, that would be great. But we'll talk more about that in a moment. And I see everyone popping into this mural now. And you can see you're visiting, turtles and crabs and things like that. That's how you have your visitor ID, and you can kind of move things around. It's a fun tool. It takes a little bit of time to get used to, but you can use it for working with your teams. Lovi, go ahead.
No, I was just appraising you for having given us the link.
Oh, wonderful. Micah, you don't need it. Try again. Just click in
You
it.
can see it. I just can't download it.
I can download. I can't download it either. I guess you have to register into account, because I registered as a visitor. But then if you
Yeah.
want to download, I think you have to create an account.
Yeah. So what you would do?
I've tried. Yeah, I just tried, and then I went to sign in, and it says you're not a member of Humentum Workspace.
Right.
And,
Humentum Workspace. Yeah. So what you do is you go to Mural and you set up your own account.
Okay.
And then when you set up your own account via your email,
Come back. Okay.
then you come back, and then you can, it says copy to my account.
Perfect.
And
Thank
then
you.
can copy it to your
Thank
account.
you. This is
Nope.
helpful.
Absolutely. And it's in Curator as well. Maybe what I'll do is I'll show, well, let me see if I can do this now. Because I have the back end of Curator open right now. Let me just see if I can just pull up the front end so you can see what I'm talking about, because the next activity as well is going to be in Curator. Or in a link to the same part of Curator, and that'll be a Google Doc. So you know what? I don't want to waste our time while I do this, but I'll show that after the next activity. Right. And so what's going to happen now is that I went through all of these different tools to sort of not only remind you of, man, this is a lot we covered in this course, but to also show you a platform that you can use to collaborate with others that's free. And then finally, to also to think about these tools, because we're going to go back to Jane, right? So now you're thinking about, there's the situational leadership, there's remote management, intent versus impact, creating an influence strategy. I could keep on going, right? Active listening. You remember all these things. So how can we then put this together? So what we're going to do is we're going to go in groups, and we're going to do a half, right? One group is going to go to group 1, and the second group will go to group 2. And then I'll share my screen. There's going to be a Google Doc, and that's going to be in the same place as Curator as the mural link. So you can, so you can look at it as well and download this so you can remember some of these things. So what this is that you're going to have group 1 will be, you can put your names up here, right? And then group 2, same. It's 2 pages. So everybody's going to be in the same document. Christine just shared the link. So what you're going to do is, how should Jane use her new management skills to address her challenges? And you see, you've got a toolbox here. You've got inclusivity. Okay, I've used that. All right, remote management. I've used that. Right. So you're going to use which tools? She's struggling to transition from technical expert to manager. So what tools or techniques should she use? And how should she do it? What are her first steps? Right? So we're going to give you a good amount of time here to be able to answer these questions. It's going to be 15 minutes. And so think about what tools, again, so you have 2 pages, each group. Which one of these tools does she need to use to address some of the challenges she is facing? So you might have one person share their screen and do the typing. It's up to you how you want to handle that. Here are your group names. And do you have any questions on what you're doing on this activity? Okay, we're going to go off into groups for 15 minutes, and let's try to use the tools we've learned in this course to help Jane.
Giselle, I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
It's okay. No, I'm in a
Giselle's
talker, so, and I think Aaron can do a great job.
Well, don't
right.
worry. I'm
No,
actually not going to ask you to do a
Oh,
report.
Oh, okay.
all right. Great.
We were like having this conversation about
Struggling and being like, well, because this is, again, another great tool. So part of this last session is also thinking about things that you can do in practice, right? Being pragmatic. And so one way of really working with colleagues is to use something like this Google Doc, because you can all be in it at once. And I can also see what everyone is writing. So as your groups are going through this, I'm watching as, who's putting what in, right? So let me go ahead and share my screen. And you can see that I've been watching what you've been saying. So here we are. And everyone has been coming up with a lot of great ideas. I'm going to try to make this a little bit bigger. So let's look. So we see Micah and Yuri kind of talking around here. Right? We can see that you put in a lot of these different things. And so as you can notice, the tools techniques are different things that you say, okay, what's in my toolbox here? What's in my toolbox? So thinking about role of manager and active listening, and that's the same thing that the other group came up with, is the role of manager. And they are saying the role of manager is understanding her role as well. And this group up here talked about intent versus impact, right? And managing change, right? And so recognizing that the different tools you use, it's also going to depend on the individual. It's going to depend on the team. But you want to use that active listening. I like how you put them active listening in both these parts, right? And providing feedback, recognizing roles and responsibilities, motivating individuals. So as you can see that there's a lot that you have come up with. Remember this trust, right? Struggling in identifying her priorities as goals and objectives. The performance issue, managing difficult people. Where are the person's strengths? All right, how can you develop others? Right, we'll go back up to this group here. Saying the same thing, managing difficult people and coaching, the grow model. Okay? And she needs to communicate up. She needs to communicate up, and she needs to maybe find a mentor, ask for a mentor, see if there's somebody that could help her. All right. And recognizing, understanding yourself and your boss. Can everyone hear me, or is it just Giselle? Thumbs
I
up?
can hear you, Lisa.
Okay. Giselle, I sounds like might be an audio issue on your end. I'm sorry. But I am showing, well, no, you can't hear me. Okay, we'll see you in a minute. So this last part is stages of team development, right? So that's, what you can think about your team where they are developing, and then think about also that situational leadership model, right? Where you might be in your own stage of growth in terms of being a good coach, a good supporter, or where can you grow? Understanding yourself and your boss, right? Maybe that's something that she needs to work on with her team and as well as her boss. So I'm so glad that and that way I didn't make anyone feel like they were on the spot for reporting all of this out, because it is a lot. And trying to think about this actively is the part of the process for you of how do you use these skills that you've learned in a pragmatic way. So I'm going to show you where you can find this document and the mural in Curator. So I'm going to pull this up. So this is where you go in Curator, and Christine will say a little bit more at the end of the course today about things in Curator and how long it's going to be up there and that kind of thing. But if we go to, again, this is what you, when you log in, this is what you find, right? So we are here today. Yay. Go to pre-information workshop and resources, right? And then you'll see useful workshop links down here, right down here. And then when you click on this, this is the Google Doc that you were just working on. And this is the mural doc you were just working on. Are there questions about finding this in Curator? No. Okay. I believe, and Christine will confirm, that you'll have another week. You'll have a full week to be able to access these resources. But, again, you can go to the mural website, make your own. Can you hear me now, Giselle? Okay, perfect. You can download these and use them at any time you would like. So you can put it to yourself. So any other thoughts on this last activity, on Jane, on Curator, and these links and mural? Okay.
Well understood.
Understood? We got it. What are we doing next? Okay, so what we're doing now is I've asked everyone to bring in a medium-sized problem, challenge, something that you're working on that you want to talk to people about. Now, what I'd like to do is, can everyone message Christine privately whether or not you want to be in your same groups that you just had for Jane, or you want to be in different groups? Do you want to be in the same groups as you just had, or in different groups? Do you want us to mix you up again? Because we're going to spend the next 20 minutes or so talking about your challenging problem within your group, right? I think we might actually have time to do 25 minutes, Christine. looking at the time. And because I would really like you to be able to feel comfortable sharing, right? And that I want you to have enough time to be able to discuss either the challenge that you're facing, to be able to talk to each other about, maybe there is not such a challenge, but something that you wanted to think about or talk about a little bit more with maybe some of the things that you learned in this course or that you might be able to put in practice. So this is your time. This is your action planning time. I want to give you that time to action plan, get that support from um, your colleagues, right? And be able to to have that time for each other. So we are just give us a moment to try to put those groups together. So just give us a moment and we'll be with you. So we are going to do our best to get those groups ready for you. I know some of you are in the same organization, so it is a little tricky to put you in groups where you're not talking about your organization in the same group. That means that either we're going to do a group of, we could also do groups of 3, 3, and 2. So that would be the only way that we can do that is 3, 3, and 2. All right, is that okay with everyone? Okay, so that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do groups of 3, 3, and 2. Christine is working hard behind the scenes. We're like chatting with each other on there to make sure that we're doing the best we can to make sure we accommodate for everyone. And try to not put people that are in the same organization together. So you can talk about your challenge without feeling like you're opening something up there. So 3, 3, and 2, we're going to have 25 minutes and then you'll come back. All right, we ready. Okay, we'll go into your groups now. If you feel that you want to come back out, you are welcome to as well to come back to the plenary and then we can also talk. All right, we'll see you in 25 minutes.
This meeting is being recorded.
Okay, welcome back. I am not going to ask you how that went. I would like you to think a little bit more. Oh, other people are joining. So I'm saying that I am not going to actually ask you how that went because I want you to think a little bit about it and what your feelings are, what you think you might be able to do, because I'm going to give you time for self-reflection. Right? Because again, we don't often have time in our workday to sit and really think about my management style, my particular issue, my particular challenge. So in your workbooks, as you can see, in your workbooks, there is and not sharing. You can see that there is a space for reflection here. There's a space for reflection. Right? Think about what you just talked about with your colleagues. Think about what are some things that really particularly resonated with you in this course that you want to remember. Think about all of these things.
You are not sharing what you think you're sharing. You're sharing your notes.
Awesome. Here we go. Let's try that again. How about that?
Perfect.
I appreciate that. Anyways, so all of those things that I was just saying, what do you really want to take away from this course, right? So this is your space for reflection. I'm going to give you 5 minutes to go ahead and reflect on those things. All right. And then there might be some action plans that you can think of. If you can put some dates, right? what do you want to do, right? What are your next steps? These are two different areas where you can have some self-reflection, right? And we're going to have some opportunity to do your action plan. So 5 minutes, write it in. We'll come back. I would like you, when we do come back, is to share in the chat one thing that particularly resonated with you in this course, whether it was like a section or a framework. What did you really take away? And we'll have you put that in the chat. All right. So actually we're going down to maybe 4 minutes because we're starting to run out of time. So 4 minutes, cameras off. I will let you know when to come back on. Okay. Right, coming back to us, remembering all the stuff in the course that you have learned. Right. I know that probably felt very short, but it was just a moment to just jot down some notes. Again, we don't often just have space to just, here, let me think these things through. So as I said, one thing to put in the chat, and I'm very curious about, what section, what framework, what thing did you really take away the most from this course? Right. So go ahead and put in the chat what particularly resonated with you in this course. What framework, what section? Difficult people. We all have to do that. Personality. Remembering our onion, being able to give good feedback, thinking about teams, right? What stage of development is our team at? Are they in the storming phase? Are we really in the performing phase? Again, more difficult people. Situation, behavior, impact. Yes, I love that one. And what are you kind of different roles, right? Coaching, being more directive, mentoring, what different roles are you playing? Not anyone who's appointed for managing positions becomes immediate leader. Say more about that, Olga, if you don't mind.
I'm thinking about Jane.
Mm-hmm.
So this example still in my head that life is so unpredictable that today you're as an officer or coordinator or whatever position, and tomorrow your organization can offer you a new managing position, which is kind of cool, and everyone usually feels excited about it. But at the same time, you should think like, in my case, for instance, you should think ahead whether you really want to switch to the position where you work more with people and you're not doing only administrative work, but you also do strategic work, which is different level of thinking and proceeding information, etc., etc. And we work through this case during last week, and we are coming back every time for it. And I think it's really good example how you can see that it's not only about skills, right? It's also about the people who made this decision, and for person who like to be in a higher position, but at the same time maybe was not just ready or didn't know what kind of tools she could use to improve her skills and to work in the team on the new position.
I think you just summed up the course because that was great, and that's why I think having that it's a perspective of somebody else's position, right? And then those case studies that we did where maybe the manager is just worried about the budget and not really thinking about how he's delegating the tasks, or hey, this worked last year, so let's do it. right? So recognizing and identifying the different things that you do as a manager and being able to say, okay, it's what tool can I use? And then what skill do I need to improve of myself? So thank you. Go ahead, Olga.
I just want to add that I don't want to judge Jane or decision makers, but what I personally noticed that she doesn't want to look how this word in English, like she doesn't know something, or she's fragile, right? Because now she's in a managing position. But it's totally okay to say that you don't know something and you need help, and not only from your managers but also from your teammates, because you learn on both sides, and it's really great to share this knowledge and to ask for help your colleagues.
Well, and that's why I'd like to, no, don't feel obligated here. But if you would like to share your email with your colleagues here, so that you can have a group of people, like, or a person that you go to be able to say, hey, can I get a little peer support here? Right? Because not everybody is in an organization that they feel comfortable acknowledging mistakes, recognizing when things might be going not so well. So please feel free. I'm going to put my email in here too. Find me on LinkedIn as well. I'm happy to connect. This is, so if you do put your email in, you might want to put your name right after that, so people know that that's yours. So feel free to do that. I want to make sure I give enough time for Christine to kind of close us out on the course. But also, any other comments you might want to put on the chat, if you do want to put, yeah, that's my email for, you'll find me on LinkedIn, but that's not always the email that comes up right away for some reason. So there aren't a lot of Lisa Mollies out there, so it's just me. So let's have Christine just kind of wrap us on the technical stuff of the course, and I'll also be here afterwards if anyone wants to stay on.
Thank you, Lisa. So thank you once again, Lisa, and thank you all for attending our Humantum Management Skills Workshop. I enjoyed spending time with you all, and thank you for asking your thoughtful questions. So looking ahead, the Curator platform will stay open until December 25th, 2022, 23:45 hours GMT UTC time, and you'll have access to the recordings and workshop digital materials till that date. Just a gentle reminder, if not already completed, please complete the workshop evaluation. I've shared a link that will take you to our workshop evaluation form. We read each evaluation and really value your thoughts and feedback. Please review all content, including any self-led resources, to receive the completion certificate. Once completed, please download the copy of your completion certificate from the course homepage. Please note the workshop will not be accessible after the December 25th, 2022, 23:45 hours GMT UTC time. That is also to review any content or even download a copy of your completion certificate. Also, if you'd like to stay in touch with Humantum, subscribe to our emails. I'm sharing a link so that you can get emails on our upcoming trainings, as well as news about our free events. Lastly, if you have any questions regarding this workshop or Humantum, you can email workshops@humantum.org. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Christine. She has been amazing, really doing all the back end stuff that you don't see. So she has been working very, very hard. So a big thank you to Christine for all your hard work. I did just get messages from Giselle and Micah on LinkedIn. So that's what I was looking at. Yes, that's me. We can connect. And please feel free to reach out. I'm happy to to connect. Also happy to stay on after the course. But that is it, everyone. That is the management skills course. I know it's going to be weird to not be in this course tomorrow. But I really enjoyed getting to know all of you. I really had a fun time with this course, and I appreciate all of you. We're right at time, but again, you're welcome to stay on if you would like. Thank you, everyone. Oh, and please do the evaluation. Yes, please don't forget the evaluation. They like that. All right, take care, everyone. The course is closed. Be well. Happy holidays.
Thanks,
Bye,
Lisa.